Good morning, everyone. Kevin the Toy Smuggler here, and today I thought if we have a cool little chat about Powers of the Force, the ships. You know, a lot of people hate the figures that they came out, and retrospectively so. I mean, well, he's a little bulky. I mean, you almost can use the '95 Luke Skywalker as a Prince Adam almost. So I mean, they really went big trying to compete with the superpower type figures like the Batman and Supermans and stuff like that. And X-Men was coming out with a few good muscular toys out. So they was trying to compete and it just totally didn't work. And I think that's a good example of these companies that when they try to they change their product to compete with other companies, even though their product is totally different. And another good example of that is where back in '87, where GI Joe kind of took the hyper color paint schemes like neons and stuff like that to compete with Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. And everyone, if you're a vintage GI Joe fan, almost everyone, by the time you hit 1987, their collection, they only collect just because it's a part of it, and they don't collect for the love of it, because those figures, they just went south really quick. And if you really set up the GI Joes up by by years, boy, the color, the first 2 years were the best. They stuck with the very, the military greens and stuff like that. And so the same aspect here with Powers of the Force, where they dropped the ball on the figures. I think they really hit a home run with a lot of the spaceships. And I just got a couple examples out here to kind of show that. Is I got the original land speeder right here, and I got the Powers of the Force. And I have to say, even though it's obviously different, it's slightly smaller. If you look at trying to get them level up here, the slightly smaller, not by much. But the paint scheme on it was a little crazy. And I think actually mine, for whatever reason, is a little bit heavier airbrush than normal. But it had some cool features, just like the original one. Had the little sticker. Let's try to get that in. Had the little sticker there. They changed it up, just the color scheme a little bit. But then they added this cool 3D detail, which was interesting. But still, the cool thing is these guys did their job on re-release. And here's another good thing. You got a lot of these new 3D elements here, sculpted 3D elements. I thought was quite nice. And you had some back here in the back, and a little bit more. This is very original to the original one, but like I said, all this is totally different. So they really, other than the paint job, probably was the poorest aspect, but the 3D sculpt version of it, I think they done a very good job. And it had the same lever action as the original. They changed the seats a little bit, and they even gave the seats more detail and stuff like that. So I think where, like I said, other than the color of the basic plastic is where they screwed. I guess they'd really try to stay away from, didn't want this mess, actually sold for, they had the collectors in mind, that they didn't want to do anything that was going to upset them. And so I think they hit a home run on these things from the aspect of the price point was amazing, extremely affordable. I think when these came out, there was like, oh gosh, $12, $11.99, something like that, $12.99, somewhere in that price. They're definitely below the $15 mark, maybe just a touch north of $10. And but the problem, like I said, but the only problem was the size of and actually this is a Obi-Wan Kenobi from that era here of '95. I can actually take the robe off here, and that was the biggest problem. As you can see here, even Obi-Wan Kenobi, quite beefy, and he's got this wide leg stance. So, but when you sit him down on his stance, luckily his legs come together here, but still he has a little bit of a trouble. He actually goes in that shit, but he still fits in there quite nice, other than the arm hanging out. But what we got here is, affordable ships, uh, slight change to make them so that, the collectors would be happy that, this is not going to get out in the wild and be mistaken for something else. And so it kind of hit the marker on everybody was happy. We was glad to see these sitting on the shelves again. We got something kind of new, but we got something. The ships were extremely high quality versus the figures not so much. So, and then they came out, almost everything that came out vintage. I mean, got a picture back here of the Millennium Falcon, and they done a few more upgrades to it. And I actually, excuse me, I actually have an original one. This is a 95 version, and I got the big Falcon. Sorry, guys. Throat's wanting to run out on me. And real quick for you guys, I got a quick update on where I'm at with the Depth Dealer sculpt. Kind of show you some changes that I've made. I want to be 3D in that pattern on top of his head. See if I can speak. So got that going on. Give you guys a quick update. And then this, I ended up just getting this for $10. If I'm not mistaken, a Vader ship mint in box is only like $50 right now. You can find one for about $50, and that's not bad. And it's basically the same ship, different color scheme. Mine, as you can see here, the reason I got it for $10, it did not have the hatch. So I had an old hatch from a TIE fighter, and I made my own hinge and everything. And I glued it together and, like I said, and sculpted a hinge on it. And I think I used an old plastic lollipop stick. But like I said, until I find one, this is what I use as that right there. But like I said, but look at the great, I mean, the details here, I wish the point I'm getting all this, I wish they go back and reuse these old modes. They save the money from all the tooling costs that they don't have to do. All these classic ships can come right back out again. And boom, and I think we can still do them at a very cheap price point. Because like right now, like I said, the big exciting news on the Black Series ships is the new Snow Speeder coming out. Looks amazing, comes with a figure and everything. But the problem is, we're looking at $120 if you are lucky to catch it at a Target or a Walmart. But I'm here to tell you, I think those are going to disappear before they ever hit the store shelves. And so you're going to be looking at probably a $175 to $200 price point. Bam, secondary market. So to me, right now, I have just dropped that off my list. As amazing as it is, $120, it's not worth it. I honestly think that ship could have been produced and be sold at roughly take the figure off and let the figure just be a figure by itself. That way you got a choice if you want it or not. And boom, that would drop the price $20. So now we're down at 99. But I honestly think that shit could probably go at the $79.99 price range, because it's not much bigger than your land speeder, which clocked in at $39, and most of us paid pushing $60 second-hand market. So I'm thinking $80 is definitely reasonable. So, or even $69, but we're not going to see that. But and I think the problem is they done a very small run on this. I don't think they went a big run on it. So, which is extremely disappointing. I would love for them. Honestly, on that, I wish they would have did a pre-order for a good, say, 6 to 9 months, and really be able to, acquire enough pre-orders and then make a bunch more to keep the price down to around the $60 range. Then let all the extras hit the store, and then change the color or change some stickers on it. So it's very, very disappointing. I wish Hasbro would get a little bit better or have a little bit more faith in their products. But I think the problem is they make so much crap and they use the stats off that crap to judge what they do with the actual good stuff. So it's very disappointing and everything. So, but like I said, but these ships were very quality made. Like I said, the only difference in these things was mostly the color, and some of these firing mechanisms I think might have been slightly different. I think this is still the same. And like I said, mine's also missing the little piece that goes here, but still $10 and I'm slowly restoring it when I get the opportunity and come across things. But just high quality detail. And they redid the Slave One, the Chicken Walker. I actually have a Chicken Walker. If you everybody has a Chicken Walker, they just don't stand. They're horrible for that. But it's just where they use too weak of a plastic on the legs. They came out with a Snow Walker. I mean, so many great ships. I wish they'd come back out. And like I said, and right now the big thing is let's make a TIE fighter and let's just see how big we can make it when they can really just go back to that classic design. And like I said, and you can come out with a slick black version of that and it would sell. So, and I think there's Hasbro's truly missing the opportunity here on a saving money from the tooling and then still coming out with some products that really just across the board could be used for any movie or in like a TIE fighter that could be used for. And the old, they made this brand new transporter, $80. Well, when they could have just redone the old classic transporter. And it's just they're just missing out on a lot of chances here to, especially with the Mandalorian, I think, to reiterate a lot of the old molds and sculpts they got and then put them back with this series, The Mandalorian and stuff like that. And I just wish they would think a little bit of ahead, how say, hey, we got these old molds. Hey, we got this TV show and it's kind of set back. Hey, is there any way we can work together here? We can come out with some new products, save some money, and boom, which will help us make more money. And then the vintage guys will like it, and the new people will like it too, because it's going to have a different tag on the boxes and stuff. So I think there's a big, huge missed opportunity here. I think it just boils back down to when you get into the boardroom, the people who makes the decisions are probably not the ones who sat down as a kid like me and most of you other guys and just sat down and played with it. And then Star Wars has been a part of my life ever since it came out. Bottom line, every time it kind of fades away, it comes back. And the older I get, the more I can reflect back and look at these things. And like I said, even though I don't like the 95 powers of the Force figures, but by the time they got to around 2000, they started making it look better. They started really, it took them a while to get their traction, but I see the point. But what is, I think they just got in a big hurry because the prequels were coming out and they just slapped something out, and the people that they hired to work on it just truly did not get what they should have been doing. And that too, that the sculptor was probably pushed, hey, we want this look. And he was just job for hire. You sculpt what I mean, there's many times I've had to sculpt things that I didn't like just because they told me to sculpt it that way. So you got to, the boss tells you what to do, you got to do it. So, but guys, like I said, I'm just doing a quick little thing, share you my thoughts on the powers of Force ships and stuff. Like I said, I think these guys are highly overlooked. If you get a chance out there, you can find these things. They're everywhere, and you can find them for a great price and everything. And that way, and for what you'll buy one of these 95 versions, will run you probably about half the price of what a vintage ones look. And you're getting the same. It's coming out of the same mold, but you're getting a slightly different color scheme. But they're great for customizing and stuff like that. So guys, take another look at it. I think you might enjoy it. So I'm Kevin the Toy Smuggler. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you next time.